I'm super honored to start the next Voices of the Future segment with a wonderful partner, Alex Mahabadan from the wonderful program MediaWise. He is the director of the MediaWise program. I've had the pleasure of knowing Alex for several years, and his passion and energy for this work is inspiring and completely contagious. So thank you, Alex, so much for being here.
Well, I am really happy to be here. What an intro. I can't believe it's been 4 years since MediaWise launched. And I mean, you know, Michelle, in partnership with NAMLY in that first year, we reached 1 million teens with our digital media literacy resources just that first year. And, you know, at MediaWise, our method has always been simple and research-based. We want anyone to think like a fact checker to fight misinformation. Since then, 2019, we've reached more than 50 million at this point. We've got programs for college students, older adults, Spanish speakers here in the US. We just launched a text message course called Find Facts Fast, and we've got WhatsApp courses in Brazil, France, Spain, and Turkey. But one of our very first initiatives, one that is near and dear to my heart, has continued to grow leaps and bounds. And that is the MediaWise Teen Fact Checking Network. This is a legitimate digital newsroom of teens. These are teens, a student newsroom, and they find claims on their feed and fact check it. Originally, when we first started, this was only on Insta stories. And since then, we've grown all the way to YouTube and definitely across TikTok. So these TFCNers, like I said, they find and debunk misinformation they see on their feeds. I remember back in the day editing scripts about panda bears in China and dinosaurs singing, really, seriously. But recent fact checks have been about the war in Ukraine, NFTs, and of course, COVID-19. The TFCN is actually a signatory of the International Fact Checking Network and leading some of our most in-depth, our most impactful, and our most complex fact checking is Issac Harte, who joined the TFCN in 2020. In addition to covering everything from dancing robots to climate change, he's appeared on CNN and NBC, and I am really happy to introduce him here today. Thanks for being here, Issac.
Thank you. So before I begin, just thank you to NAMLY for allowing me to speak and Alex for the introduction. Since joining MediaWise in late 2020, I've seen the continued importance of media literacy education. As Alex mentioned, I write and record fact checks at MediaWise. This entails finding some piece of mis or disinformation that has gone viral, explaining whether or not it is accurate, and giving the viewer, likely someone my age, a way to fact check on their own. Fact checks are often the subject of criticism. They don't address the root problem of disinformation. While true, using specific and individual fact checks to teach fact checking skills can be very beneficial to students. My experience working as a fact checker for MediaWise has been unique. Surprisingly, most teenagers do not get to work as fact checkers. I've fact checked everything from vaccine disinformation and social media posts about climate change to dancing robots, as Alex mentioned, and guns as a vaccination incentive. Doing this work has sparked my broader interest in journalism and helped to make me a more media literate person. A lot of the stuff that I or one of my fellow fact checkers at MediaWise fact check will be something that one of my peers will go on to mention to me. So I get the fun opportunity of lecturing them about the truth. But seriously, my generation happens to be pretty good at using the internet. We are in many ways vulnerable to lies that we see on social media, but us Gen Zers have the skills to fact check as well. I'd like to take the rest of my time to dive into some of the things that I think I'd like to see done in order to promote media literacy and in turn strengthen democracy. Humans are susceptible to confirmation bias. We tend to seek out information that verifies our preconceived notions instead of consuming the news and information that we need to hear to be informed citizens. Public media in the US, that's NPR and PBS, is a good tool for providing the news you need and not just the news you want. And America, frankly, is terrible at funding its public media. Many other first world nations treat public media as an asset and a tool for protecting democracy. The US, according to recent data, spends about $1.40 per capita per year, while countries such as the UK, among other European countries, contribute closer to $100 per capita per year towards public media. Not only do NPR and PBS have a record of providing critical and non-sensational coverage, but they also do a better job keeping people informed, as well functioning members of a democracy. Numerous studies have linked public media to more robust support for democracy among citizens, a more informed electorate, and higher civic participation. Public media can also strengthen democracy by filling the void created by the decline in local news. And that brings me to my next point. It is very important that students consume local news as part of media literacy efforts. Local journalism allows students to engage with the local issues occurring in their community and become involved. Picture this scenario. A group of students are reading a local news story as part of a media literacy effort, and they hear that a beloved playground is going to be torn down and replaced with a shopping mall. The students then attend a city council meeting and protest the shopping mall being built. While yes, this scenario is cliche, it demonstrates how young students can participate in democratic functions and in turn learn the value of said functions through media literacy. When talking to many of my peers, and I share this view, I often hear the frustration that some educators approach media literacy in a condescending way. Teachers will often give students a story to read that is dull and fluffy. It is likely a story about an animal with some headline like, "Girl saves puppy from the rain." Give your students content that sparks discussions about the issues that are relevant to their generation. Give your student a story about climate change to read and have a discussion about it. In other words, don't talk down to your students. I'm not the only person who enjoys these types of discussions. Many of my peers have also been very engaged and expressive in sharing their opinions. The idea that young people don't have the knowledge or wisdom to talk about issues like school shootings, climate change, or abortion is straight up disinformation. And lastly, if you've spent any time recently watching cable television or reading a newspaper, you are likely aware that there is an active threat to democracy in America, with a former president who falsely asserts that his electoral defeat was due to massive election fraud. A lack of faith in democratic systems is on the rise, as is disengagement with civic organizations. My generation will be the one that sees the lasting impact of the decisions that are made now. In 20 years, I hope to live in a world that is more civically engaged, better informed about the issues surrounding it, and where media literacy is a valued tool for protecting democracy. Thank you.